Talladega, boys raised up, whiskey in your glass. I'm here to turn it up, slow it down, and cars that go real fast. But when you realize all they're doing out there on that racetrack is saving fuel going full wide, and the only way you can pass out there on that high banks of Talladega is going down pit road and taking less fuel than your competition. Hopefully you can pass some cars on pit road. That's pretty lame, but that's how we have to deal with it as NASCAR fans in 2025 at Talladega, Alabama. What up, y'all? Welcome to Roll the Bond Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Moore. Hope you are doing good whenever you are listening to this one. Looking forward to jumping into this episode. We had not all three series. We had Cup, Xfinty, and Arca. I watched some of the Arca race. Well, actually, I pretty much watched most of the Arca race. I wasn't really fully paying attention to that race, doing some editing for some of my content here. All I do know that Cletus McFarland finished 9th. He was the big star of the week. He raced his first Arca race back in Daytona. That was a wreck fest. Got wrecked down that one. But he finished this race. I know he had an engine issue, but finished 9th. So good finish for him in the number 30 Wreck Jones racing car. It's great to have Cletus McFarland a part of the sport and being involved. It brings a lot of eyeballs. I know NASCAR had an onboard camera of him driving on their YouTube page. I know that had like close to 100,000 views. I know Cletus said on the Dale Earnhardt Jr. download he wants to race the Daytona 500. I don't know if he's being serious about that. He's now friends with Greg Biffle after they were doing some, during the flooding from, I think it was the hurricanes from South Carolina and North Carolina. They met up. So now Biffle's trying to help Cletus in his racing journey. Cletus does a lot of racing things already, from drifting. He owns a racetrack, and now he's trying to do some racing on his own. I think Cletus is actually a pretty solid race car driver. He drives a lot of different kind of cars. Now, super speedway racing is not the, you're not going to show off your skill the most because there's a lot out of your hand. But the interesting thing is, if Cletus actually wants to pursue this career and do a bunch of part-time races, if he wants to race the Daytona 500, I'm not even sure he can fit in a race car. He's like 6'6", he's not skinny. He's pretty big. I'm not even sure he can fit in one of those race cars. Because I believe Cody Ware and Carson Hocevar are both around 6'4". Cody Ware is not skinny, but Carson Hocevar is, so I'm not even sure he'll be able to fit in one of those things. But it is great to have Cletus part of the sport. I know he's racing the Bristol Arca race in September, so that'll be his first non-super speedway race, so it'll be kind of fun to see how he does in that. Now, the Cup race, Ryan Preece finished second to Austin Cindric, gets his first win of the season. Austin Cindric beat out Ryan Preece by half a car, got a great push from Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson repaving the favor for Austin Cindric after Larson wrecked Austin Cindric in Atlanta. That cost Cindric a chance to win the race. Feel terrible for Ryan Preece right there. His first career win right there in front of him. But guess what? Luckily, it wouldn't have mattered because Bob Pockers reported that Ryan Preece and Joe Nagano were both disqualified. Ryan Preece was disqualified for 3 shims instead of 2 on its spoiler, and Joe Nagano was missing a spoiler bolt on its spoiler. They both were disqualified, like I said. Both teams are not going to appeal the penalty. Really stinks for both. Not sure if it's intentional. There's a lot of, NASCAR doesn't really allow these teams to do much to these cars, so any chance they can find something, break the rules a little bit, the teams are going to try it. Well, they failed again. Luckily, it's not that big of a penalty. It's just, they just lost. They got last place points, which is not really great, but, it's not anything worse than that. It's interesting, when, teams do this, and the spoiler is a very sensitive part, that's what creates a lot of drag, which slows the car down. So any way you can help the spoiler not be in the air, or, not be as big of a factor when it comes to affecting your car's speed is great. But, you know, like Joey Logano, he has spoiler bolt missing. So they purposely probably made that thing loose, hopefully to fall off. But then they not expect NASCAR to check that area? I don't know, man. I saw this picture from Live Fast Motorsports. They posted like it looked like a washer or a bolt inside their radiator. BJ McLeod left the race because of a mechanical issue, so who knows? Did Joey Logano's bolt cause BJ McLeod to be eliminated from the race? I don't know. But then also the 3 shims instead of the 2 for Ryan Preece. I'm not exactly sure what that all has to do and where that's supposed to be placed on the spoiler. I'm not trying to go to the engineering side. We'll probably learn about it from @Bozy on X and then NASCAR Hauler Talk podcast. They'll probably break it all down for us to learn. But I do know that Ryan Preece missed out on a second place finish. Probably would have been his first ever second place finish. And Joey Logano missed out on his first top 5 of the season. So a good day gone bad for those 2 teams. Terrible for them, but you know they tried to break the rules and got caught for it, looks like to me. Now, back to Austin Cindric. So Austin Cindric at COTA was penalized during the week for right hooking Ty Dillon. That was 50 points and $50,000. And a lot of people are now bringing up that really that penalty doesn't mean anything anymore because he won a race. He's locked in. And a guy like Austin Cindric, he's very competitive, but he's not. I don't expect Cindric to compete for wins every week. You know, really, super speedways is probably his best chance to win multiple races, and he's really good at it. You know, he's one of the best speedways, and it showed this past week in Talladega. NASCAR made a new rule. They call it, it's pretty much the Kyle Larson rule, pretty much. Kyle Larson missed the Coach 600 because he went to race the Indy 500. Indy 500 got pushed back because of weather. There's a whole thing there with the waiver. When NASCAR made a new rule that if you miss a race for a non-medical issue or a birth of a child, you will lose all your playoff points if you ask for a waiver. If NASCAR grants you a waiver for a non-medical issue or a birth of a child, you lose all your playoff points. The way you get playoff points is to win a race, that's 5. Win a stage, that's 1. And then at the end of the season, regular season, you get a certain amount of playoff points for where you finish in the points. Well, NASCAR made a rule that if you miss a race for a non-medical issue or a birth of a child, you lose all those playoff points. They're done for. So now people are saying that, wow, that penalty that NASCAR got for a right hook, which maybe should have been a suspension. Because other right hooks have been a suspension, but NASCAR didn't suspend Cindric for that. So that's one thing I guess you could think that maybe NASCAR should, if they're going to, maybe they should make those, if you do, right hook someone and it's not a suspension, there should at least be playoff points granted, because pretty much now, Cindric right hooked Ty Dillon for nothing pretty much. You know, the points are a big deal, but for a guy that's probably not going to really compete for the regular season championship, it doesn't really mean much to him. But that was one thing. But we get in this race. Let me clear my throat first. Sorry, guys. So, overall, this race, there's some stats I wanted to show you. From NASCAR Insights, the Cup race at Talladega ended with 62-lap green flag run. This was the longest green flag run to end a drafting race without a last lap accident since the 2004 July Daytona race. Also from Jeff Gluck. Here's a bizarre stat for you. That was the 4th straight NASCAR Cup Series race at Talladega to have exactly 4 cautions, 2 stages, and 2 natural cautions. Yeah, I mean, look, we didn't get the big one, and I actually think it was nice to have a natural finish in this race for sure. It's kind of refreshing to have something like that. Especially with just all the chaos that ends up happening at these races. I did a look here. We had 67 lead changes in this race. So we had a ton of lead changes. The race was around 3 hours and 10 minutes. So, a lot of lead changes. I mean, they were, on lap 3, they were 4 wide, saving fuel. But that was the thing. I really would say that the team that made it the most interesting, at least the manufacturer, there was some good manufacturer games being played with the manufacturers kind of working together, trying to, strategize and put themselves in the best position to, win stages and win the race. But early in stage 1, we saw the Toyotas. They were able to get like 6 Toyotas in a row in the outside lane, and then they, instead of saving fuel, they hit the gas. And that lane started, going forward, and they kind of led. It was this one, lane of Toyotas and 3 lanes behind them of a mix between Fords and Chevys. And then I believe Ty Gibbs and Aaron Jones were the only Toyotas not in that main Toyota pack. Well, the goal was, of course, the Toyotas were going to pay for it because they were going to be burning more fuel, but hopefully the other cars that were not doing that would pick up their pace because they didn't want to lose the lead pack. So creating some cat and mouse games, some chess match, which was really fun, but that was really the only interesting thing in this race. Kyle Larson won stage 1. Bubba Wallace won stage 2, so good stage points for them. The stages were somewhat interesting because you saw drivers kind of create runs there. But the only 2 natural cautions we saw in this race was the first one that had to do with Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch and Ryan Blaney. Green flag pit stops at Talladega, Daytona are always entertaining because they're going from such a high speed to such a low speed. They're putting their hands out the window to let drivers know they're going down. And I watched the replay a couple of times. Brad goes down the pit road. He's coming with a lot of speed. And also Busch is coming in with a lot of speed. At first I thought Busch ran in the back of Brad. But also I don't know if it was a miscommunication by Kyle. I don't know if he thought Brad wasn't going down pit road, and he kind of came down, and Brad was right in front of him, and he was coming with a lot of speed, and Brad was too. I think Brad was trying to either come up the racetrack, or Kyle was trying to go around Brad. They made contact. They kind of came together, and then they're trying to save the cars together at the same time, and then they both turned, or both their cars kind of come down the racetrack, and that's when then Blaney's trying to avoid it below the yellow line, gets clipped by Brad, destroys the front end of Brad's car. Blaney's car is totaling his rear passenger side. Totaling was destroyed. His day was done. Brad's day was done. 2 of the best super speedway drivers in the business, in the sport, taken out. So that was a big wreck. That was early. That was only in stage 1. Well, then the restart. After that, we saw another wreck. And that had to do with Denny Hamlin, I guess pretty much wrecking Christopher Bell into Chris Buescher. They both go sliding the inside wall. Christopher Bell hits head on. Chris Buescher hits driver's side door. Chris Buescher's crew chief was not too happy about that. He blames Denny Hamlin pretty strongly. He says on X, he posted this on X, "This team works so hard every week. Had our driver in position for the end of stage 1, and the guys that would consider themselves some of the best drivers in the world can't even get through a restart. I see why you have an insurance sponsor at Denny Hamlin. Can I file a claim?" Some strong words from Scott Graves. Denny didn't talk about this incident on his podcast. Usually you can push a driver in the turns. Well, usually you cannot push a driver. You cannot push on their bumper in the turns because it usually spins them out. But Denny went to a whole explanation that when that was on a restart, so the drivers are still getting up to speed. Then I guess the cars have more grip because they're going at lower speed. That you are allowed, you are able to push them. You are able to lean on their bumper. Well, for some reason, it just didn't work out this time. And Denny actually talked about that. Usually, if he sees the car and he's pushing twitch, he gets off. But he never saw that from Bell's car, and that's what led Denny to never getting off Bell's bumper, and that's what caused the wreck. It was a massive hit, though, for Bell. That was a scary, scary hit. Bell almost got airborne, but luckily they were going slow enough for it to not get up airborne enough, or all those safety features that NASCAR's been working on to keep these cars on the ground is working, but it was still a massive, massive hit. It was hard. Man, scary wreck, but luckily they were all okay. But just some angry people, especially Chris Buescher's crew chief, Scott Graves. And then really, besides that, the end of stage 2 was a little exciting, and that's what we got to get into next. Bubba Wallace won stage 2, and Joey Logano finished, I believe he finished second in that stage 2. Joey Logano, where did Joey Logano finish? Joey Logano, am I looking at this right? Where did Joey Logano finish? Oh, yes. Okay, I'm getting confused. Joey Logano finished second, but because of the penalty, he finished last in each of the stages. So Joey finished second, but didn't get those points because of the disqualification. Sorry, I got a little confusion there. But Joey was in second, was about to get a push from Austin Cindric, but it never got to him, and that's what allowed Bubba to win stage 2. Joey Logano, in the heat of the moment, was pretty livid. And this is what he had to say about Austin not pushing him to the win. This is from Jeff Gluck. Way to go, Austin. Way to go. You dumb F. Way to effing go. What a stupid S. You just gave it to him. Gave a Toyota a stage win. Nice job. Way to go. What a dumb A. But put that in the books again. So, Joey was fired up. He was going in on Austin Cindric. Well, this is what Austin Cindric had to say about it. Because that was all I could do, not to wreck Joey. I obviously trying to stay there. I was trying not to wreck everybody. I saw the replay. Barry was giving Austin Cindric a massive push. And I think if Cindric got to the back bumper, he was going to wreck Joey because he had such a momentum. He kind of got loose there, too, with Barry pushing him, so he didn't want to risk wrecking Joey. And now that did create a little bit of discussion about, I think, Joey was in the heat of the moment, didn't really know what was going on behind him, thought that Cindric just bailed him out, wasn't trying to let him win. But the funny thing about this is Chipper freaking Jones, a legendary Atlanta Braves pitcher, I guess was watching this race and posted this congratulating Austin Cindric about the win. But let's just read this entire thing. Congrats to Austin Cindric on his Talladega win. Good teammates are hard to come by, boss. Remember that one of your MF'd you on national TV when in all actually you did everything possible to keep from wrecking him. Hate to be deuces in the team meeting on Monday. Some people are hooray for our team as long as I'm the star. As every team has them. Henninger, RCR, JGR, Penske, etc. Sometimes karma is glorious. Enjoy this one. In case anyone's confused, let me be clear. Joey Logano. So some strong words from Chipper Jones, kind of calling out how everyone wants to be the star and stuff. It's kind of cool to see a guy who's such a big name and or was such a big name in the sport of MLB baseball coming at Joey like that and congratulating Austin. But that was some fun stuff there. But yeah, those were really the three moments there. But then the final green flag pit stops, the Toyotas come down a pit row. We see the Fords, Chevys, they all kind of pit separately, and then it really just turns into, it looked like the Toyotas. I think Denny Hamlin talked about the fact that the Toyotas were burning more fuel because they were on the gas more. They lost about a second and a half to the main draft. But the interesting part of this race is when the Toyotas did come, the main leaders were a bunch of Fords and Chevys in there. Well, there was a couple of cars that were coming out of pit row, and they were not able to stay with the draft. So there was just a couple of cars just by themselves, way slower than a close to 10 pack of car train. 10, way faster than a pack of cars that's going in a straight line. Well, we saw Ross Chastain pretty much just be a moving wall, pretty much. That he was going to drive in front of this pack going way faster than him and trying to slow down this pack and affect the speed of them. Well, he did that. I saw that Carson Hocevar sent it 3 wide in the middle. I forget the car that was on the bottom. I believe that was Cody Ware, I thought, maybe. But then Hamlin was second, and Hamlin was not happy about it. I guess he talked to Ross and just kind of explained to Ross, would you like if someone did that same thing? The move that Ross did is we've seen it before where they just kind of drive in front of the pack. This pack's going way faster than them, but the goal is to hopefully make the cars have to avoid you and slow the pack down. Hopefully you can jump in line or stay with the pack. And we've seen this not work out so well. We've seen it last year when Daniel Schwartz, Ross Chastain's teammate, do it, and he caused a wreck there. I forget who got involved, but that was just, I think the move is kind of stupid. Like, all you're asking for is, you're winning a wreck there, pretty much. You're asking for a wreck. Like, it's not, Denny checked up big time, and that killed that line, that group of Toyota's momentum from staying with the lead pack. Denny was never able to get up there. He was also having issues with fuel. But, like, I just don't get that move, man, because Denny could have ran in the back of Ross, wrecked more cars. I don't get that, man. One of the interesting things that I saw Denny bring up was, when it comes to this move that Ross made, that, you know, if NASCAR's going to black flag a driver for forcing someone below the yellow line at Speedway Racing, why can't they black flag someone that's intentionally trying to block a lane of cars that's coming way faster than them that can then lead to a massive wreck? And I totally agree. Of course, it's way more entertaining if they don't do anything, and if they just keep letting drivers do this. It's probably entertaining for fans, but then it could make our sport look like a clown show and kind of stupid and silly and a circus, and we don't really want that. We didn't get a big one. That could have led to a big one. So I agree with Denny. I think the move just kind of makes you look kind of stupid, because all that move presents and all that move is asking is chaos, which is great, I guess, but it's just, I don't like that move. I just think, you know, you as a driver don't look as good making that kind of move, especially if you know, just like Suarez did that move last year and caused a wreck. But yeah, that was really the only big moments from this race that created talking points. We did bring up, I think I talked about when Priest made the move to lead the outside lane there that let him to have a chance to win this race. But luckily, he didn't win the race, because then it would have been an awkward thing if Priest had to celebrate his heart out for his first career win and then get told his car's DQ'd. But yeah, that was really the Cup race, guys. Look, the overall racing, guys, it's fuel saving, man. And it's frustrating because I'm seeing people like Jeff Burton say, what else do you want from this? What else do fans want from this type of racing? This is fine. You know, a lot of people that are paid by NASCAR are having these opinions like they think it's fine. I'm getting sick and tired of, you know, SiriusXM people or NASCAR people trying to make us fans and trying to tell us why we don't think, or why we're wrong for saying this racing is not good. Okay? I saw Jeff Luck say that to help us deal with not having fuel saving, we should have 250 lap races. Like the duels at Daytona, we're going to have 2 of those. And if you win, and it's for half points. So we'll have 2 races in one day. And they're going to both be 150 miles as a way to help us not have to deal with fuel saving. Well, guess what? When we're on the gas, we can't go 3 wide. You can only go 2 wide. That's how you can do. This car's got so much drag, too much power. I can go on and on about this, but I feel like there's a lot smarter people that have way better opinions and way more knowledgeable and informative opinions than me. So I'll leave it to them. Let's go down this running order here. Austin Cindric first, second Kyle Larson, third William Byron, fourth Noah Gragson, fifth Chase Elliott, sixth Carson Hocevar, seventh Alex Bowman, eighth Bubba Wallace, ninth Daniel Suarez, 10th Austin Dillon, 11th Michael McDowell, 12th Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 13th Cole Custer, 14th Tyler Reddick, 15th Chase Briscoe. I lost my train of thought. 16th Todd Gillen, Ty Gibbs 17th, 18th Eric Jones, 19th Zane Smith, 20th Ross Chastain, 21st Denny Hamlin, 22nd Riley Herbst, 23rd Ty Dillon, 24th AJ Allmendinger, 25th Justin Haley, 26th Josh Berry, 27th Kyle Busch, 28th Anthony Alfredo, 29th Shane Van Gisbergen, 30th Jonathan Nemechek, 31st Cody Ware, 32nd J.J. Yaley, 33rd B.J. McLeod, 34th Chris Buescher, 35th Christopher Bell, 36th Brad Keselowski, 37th Ryan Blaney, 38th Ryan Preece, and 39th Joey Logano. Really feel bad for Ryan Blaney, getting taken out early on a track he's really good at. He's just not having good luck, man. He's so fast, but just bad luck, getting involved in other people's messes that's just taking him out. So it just stinks for him. Not really sure what else. I did want to say something about Anthony Alfredo. Anthony Alfredo finished 28th, which, isn't, the greatest, but Beer Motorsports, a part-time team. I had this stat highlighted I wanted to bring up. Anthony Alfredo from NASCAR Insights led 10 laps during the Jack Links 500. This is the most laps the 62 has led in a NASCAR Cup Series race since Frank Schreiner at Old Dominion in 1958. So, Anthony Alfredo making some history in the number 62 car, so congratulations to him. I believe we look at the laps led again. Who led the most laps? It was Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs, I think, led like the first half of that stage. At stage 3 there, he was leading the bottom lane when the Toyotas were hitting the gas. So Ty Gibbs starting to be a little bit more consistently top 20, not top 10, but he's definitely showing a lot more speed. Ty Gibbs led most laps in the race, 32. Joey Nagano finished last because of the DQ, scored the second most laps in 24. And then the third guy that led the most laps is Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe led 20 laps. Let's just count it off here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 drivers led laps today's race. So even though this racing product to me it's far from being when it once was, at least we're getting a lot of guys leading laps. So that's kind of cool. A lot of drivers getting up there, getting some good TV time. Last thing I want to say about the Cup Series race is Fox. Fox is just freaking goodness. What is Fox doing? They had a commercial 15 laps ago, and then they had another commercial was about 10 laps ago. It was side by side. I don't think there was any full screen commercials at all during Green Flag Racing, which is nice. But are we serious? Was like 10 laps ago, there's a commercial. And guess what? They didn't go back to the race until like 6 laps ago. I think 5 laps ago. They were side by side with 6 laps ago in the race. And I believe R.D. Kempter, who has been the producer of NASCAR on Fox since they started in 2001, is moving over to now Sunday Night Football. This was his last race to produce. So must have been like a nice see you later from R.D. I'm going to make you guys watch side by side with 6 laps to go. Like, oh my gosh, Fox is ridiculous. They are so far from, I can't wait to see how Prime does and TNT does. Because I think a lot of people, Prime and TNT can make a world of difference. They can be way better than Fox. All they got to do is just be a little bit better when they place their freaking commercials. Now, I know this race was on Fox and not FS1, so that could have to do with it. But gosh, so frustrating, guys. Fox is just, I can't stand it. But a lot of fans can't stand it either. Last thing I want to bring out quickly is the Xfinity Series race. This race was so good that Denny Hamlin on his podcast said that he wants to sign up for an Xfinity Series race. That's surprising. Denny Hamlin, 44 years old, wants to go race the Super Speedway race in the Xfinity Series. But Denny's considered one of the best plate drivers. He was definitely one of the best plate drivers during the Gen 6 era. The Gen 7 era has really taken a lot of that skill out of the plate racing. But that's pretty cool. I'd love to see Denny Hamlin race in the plate race. But this race was just levels above. We saw 3-wide racing. But we saw 3-wide racing when they were actually trying to race. We weren't fuel saving. The runs, the momentum drivers could get. We saw the RCR cars there in the class of the field. They were a show. Jesse Love won stage 1, and guess who won stage 2? His teammate, Austin Hale. It was a domination. And then at the end of this race, that's where we had a little bit of controversy with Jesse Love having a run on Connor Zilisch. Had a lot of momentum with help from his teammate. Made a move. Zilisch blocked pretty heavily, and it spun out. Zilisch head on into the inside wall. It was a massive hit for Zilisch. Scary hit, but luckily he was okay. That led into it. NASCAR threw a caution, And a lot of fans were mad that they threw this caution. It was only a one-car wreck. It was a hard hit. I mean, I'm not surprised they threw the caution. That was a scary hit. But some fans were saying because this was the last lap, NASCAR could have deployed 60 vehicles and they would be able to check on Zilch and still let this race finish green. But then it led to a pretty much a replay review of who was leading at the time of caution. They had not the best of angles. Austin Hill was determined the winner. He was out in front of Jeb Burton. The angle is kind of weird. Here's the cars, and here's the camera. And the camera was facing this way, so you kind of saw the angle like you're looking at the cars. Like, let's say the cars are here, and this is where I'm looking. I'm showing this on my YouTube. I have my hand. This is kind of where you're looking at. So you're looking. They don't have like you're not looking at the cars this way. So it's a harder. It wasn't the best camera angles, but to me, I would say that with the angles they have, it does look like the 21 was ahead at the time of caution. Jeb Burton, really disappointing, said he felt like that he was ahead. He was emotional because he talked about how, Jordan Anderson Racing only has a couple opportunities to win races, and he really wanted it bad. I felt terrible for him, but with the way that the cameras looked, it looked like Austin Hill was the winner. But yeah, I mean, Xfinity is levels above Cup when it comes to the racing product on super speedways, and really Xfinity is the best. It's the best car NASCAR's got right now. It's the best racing NASCAR's got right now. Xfinity race was. I gotta stop. I'm mumbling through my words, but Xfinity race was awesome. Austin Hill wins the race. Second, Jeb Burton. Third, Jesse Love. Fourth, Justin Allgaier. Fifth, Matt Benedetto. Sixth, Anthony Alfredo. Seventh, Blaine Perkins. Eighth, Harrison Burton. Ninth, Sean Crean. And 10th, Daniel Dye. I'm not gonna go through that list, but great for Blaine Perkins getting a top 10. That's awesome for him. Who led the most laps in the Xfinity Series race? Jesse Love led 50. And the winner, Austin Hill, led 19. But yeah, that's really it. Like I said, Xfinity Series race was good. But Cup Series, I think NASCAR needs to fix this package. But will they? I don't know. We'll see. It seems like NASCAR cares more about how to keep these cars on the ground versus trying to get a good aero package to create some good super speedway racing like we're used to seeing. But that's the podcast, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Love coming on here. Stay tuned too. I'm going to post a lot of content. Some old, some new content on my social medias. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I saw that one of my top 5 pace king video for the Xfinity Series race has a lot of views, which is kind of cool to see. I guess that video has got a lot of people enjoying the top 5 pace kings. That's good to see. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.